Thank you for joining us on the early edition. I'm Molly Lange. On the eve of two big votes on the road to the White House, the Republicans are in a primary showdown in South Carolina where the headline tonight is Donald Trump, and he is losing ground. In a new NBC News Wall Street Journal Marist poll, Trump now leads Ted Cruz by just 5 points, 28-23, down from a 16-point lead just a month ago. Now Marco Rubio is virtually unchanged at 15. The next 7 days may provide some clarity in these races. NBC's Katie Tur reports.
Donald Trump sounding confident to a boisterous crowd in Myrtle Beach. But the billionaire is still on the defensive. Now for a 2002 Howard Stern radio interview where he said he supported the Iraq invasion.
So you for invading Iraq?
Yeah, I guess so.
Trump has repeatedly claimed on the trail.
And I was against going into Iraq, and I was against it since a long time. I didn't want to go into Iraq.
This morning on Today, he explained the flip-flop.
It's the first time the question was ever asked to me. That was long before the war started. By the time the war started, I was against it.
Also, a new NBC News Wall Street Journal Marist poll out today, showing his lead slashed.
Every time they do a poll, I have a lousy poll.
One potential reason, Trump's accusation during the debate that George W. Bush lied about weapons of mass destruction. Sources within the campaign told NBC News Trump has been warned to ease off, both by advisors and even phone bank volunteers who were hearing negative reaction from voters about his attacks on George W. Bush.
Saturday night at the debate, temperament was on display.
Cruz in second, punching up and down, mocking Trump with his own words.
It's easy to say, let's make America great again. You can even print that on a baseball cap. But the question to ask is, do you understand what made America great in the first place?
And again, linking Marco Rubio to President Obama in a new ad.
Marco Rubio burned us once.
The battle for 1, 2, and 3 getting tense, all while John Kasich and Jeb Bush struggle to gain traction. Bush bringing out his mother again today, trying to bookend a bad week. One bright spot for Trump, the Vatican clarified the Pope's comments today about the frontrunner, saying in no way was this a personal attack nor an indication of how to vote. Katie Tur, NBC News, North Charleston, South Carolina.
And thousands paid their respects today at the funeral mass for the 79-year-old Justice Antonin Scalia. The Supreme Court Justice's son, a Catholic priest, led the mass attended by Vice President Joe Biden, other court justices, and some U.S. senators. NBC's Jennifer Johnson has our story.
Draped in an American flag, the casket of Justice Antonin Scalia was taken into the nation's largest Roman Catholic church, Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception. Over 3,300 politicians, friends, and family came to pay their respects, including his fellow Supreme Court justices.
Hope does not disappoint.
Former and current congressmen and presidential hopefuls also attended the service. Vice President Joe Biden came too. Despite criticism, President Obama was not there, citing his large security detail, but paid tribute to the justice at the Supreme Court Friday. Scalia's son, the Reverend Paul Scalia, delivered the homily.
God bless Dad, as is well known, with a love for his country.
Father Scalia, one of the justice's 9 children, added humor to the somber ceremony, telling a story of his father coming to church for confession, only to learn his son was the priest on duty.
As he put it later, like heck if I'm confessing to you. The feeling was mutual.
Scalia, who died last weekend at a Texas ranch,
I, Antonin Scalia, do solemnly swear,
spent nearly 3 decades on the nation's high court. He was considered one of the country's most influential conservatives. Jennifer Johnson, NBC News, Washington. President Obama says he will nominate Justice Scalia's replacement in due time, and he wants a vote on his nomination, despite threats from the Republican-led Senate that won't happen until a new president is elected. Jennifer Johnson, NBC News, Washington.
And back on the local front, 2 Arizona sisters went to the state capitol this week, not for a school field trip, but to get lawmakers to back anti-bullying legislation. But their crusade appeared to get stonewalled by one legislator who refused to talk to the grade schoolers. Dennis Welch reports.
This is our bill Riley and Karis Wilson were not in school this afternoon, but they got quite the civic lesson today.
Safe to tell, Bill. It's a hotline that you could call.
While meeting and greeting lawmakers at the Capitol, the 11 and 12-year-old sisters learned just how rough it can be to pass a bill.
I think it's super hard. I mean, we have to talk to so many people.
The girls have been pushing for anti-school bullying legislation, but have run into a wall.
His name is Paul Boyer. We had 3 appointments with him, but he canceled all 3, which is a bummer.
So once again, the girls tried tracking down Representative Paul Boyer, the chairman of the House Education Committee.
Is he going to come out? Is he going to come out?
They waited in the lobby and sat in the gallery, but no luck. And word that Boyer didn't meet with the middle school girls didn't sit well with some state leaders.
I think it's a shame, and I absolutely think that he should meet with him. But I don't know, he's one of the biggest jerks we have at the Capitol.
The bill sets up a hotline for students to anonymously report bullying and other threats on campus. Today was the last day the bill could get a hearing this year, and even though they didn't get a meeting with Boyer, these girls are not giving up.
We'll keep trying. Eventually, he'll have to talk to us.
Well, happy Saturday to all of you. It's definitely a beautiful day out there, and we're looking to have some warm days ahead of us in the desert Southwest. Let's head over to Chase Golightly in our weather center to give us a first look at our outside conditions. So are these temperatures here to stay, Chase?
It looks like they are, Molly. In fact, it's looking to be getting even warmer this week. We're expecting to be getting into the 90s, but at least it will be nice and sunny, which is always something to look forward to. But looking at our radar and satellite, you can see maybe a little bit of clouds rolling through our area, but not very much, not like what we experienced yesterday and the day before. We should be pretty sunny for the next couple days until we get about to Wednesday. But before we get to that, let's look at our futurecast again. You can see those clouds really just south of Phoenix and Casa Grande over there, but not really going through our area. Like I said, it should be nice and sunny. Looking at your temperatures for right now, 83 degrees in Yuma, 83 in Imperial with 82 in El Centro, and our high for today was about 85 degrees. So it's definitely a little bit cooler than that, which is still very nice. And then for your headlines tonight, nice and clear tomorrow. Again, sunny as always. And down the road, we're expecting clear, sunny skies, temperatures in the 90s. And then we'll be getting back into the 80s with some clouds in our area. But I'll tell you all about that in my full weather forecast coming up in just a little bit. But right now, let's send it back to Molly.
Thank you, Chase. Well, cancer survivors met today in Calexico to celebrate life one day at a time. The 2016 Relay for Life Survivor Luncheon hosted about 20 survivors. Caregivers to cancer patients were also present. Organizers say it was a time to remember those who were no longer with them, but most importantly, it was a day to celebrate life. Relay for Life will hold its next event Saturday and Sunday, March 12th and 13th at Crummett Park in Calexico. And thousands of people came out to the small town of Welton today for the annual Pioneers Day Parade. And of course, your local TV news talent was there as well, waving to the crowds. More than 40 entries paraded down Los Angeles Avenue. Everything from car clubs, Girl Scouts, local clubs, and much more came out to be a part of the event. The winners of this year's float competition was the Arrowhead RV Park. They say they spend about 3 weeks a year putting their float together for today, and it was a crowd favorite. They had a bar, dancers, and even live music.
We've really had some good feedback from the people in the park, and people going by here have really enjoyed, especially the bar end of it. They seem to like the bar better.
And a full day of fun is how city officials describe it. Hundreds of people came out to enjoy Imperial's 5th annual Tri-Tip Cook-Off today. This year, 18 teams competed for the Champion and People's Choice Awards. And for everyone to enjoy, there was kettle corn, cotton candy, great music, and line dancing as well. And city officials say the cook-off is now a tradition.
Everybody realizes that Imperial has a lot of different events, and it brings people from throughout the community, not only Imperial, but throughout the valley, here to visit us. People come in and know where Imperial is. It's also great for our community that's actually in Imperial for something to bring the family to.
Featured a booth by Imperial's first honey winery producer. City officials called it their sweet debut. And today in the Yuma Foothills, the Rotary celebrated the Foothills community spirit. Our news team was also out there. We had a really great time seeing all of you. It was definitely a beautiful day, but in case you missed it, News 11's Phoenix O'Connor joins us in the studio with all of the action that happened today. Hey, Phoenix.
Hey, Molly, that's right. It certainly was great walking up and down the Foothills Boulevard and meeting everyone. And this parade is actually extra special to those that are living in the Foothills area as they honor Hank Swartzkit, who was the builder and made the Foothills what it is today. And this was all happened back in 1967. Hank put up the first mobile home on his lot, and he started selling spaces in the beginning. And no one would ever dream that the Foothills would ever become so widely popular as it is now. Now residents join in on the fun and celebrate Hank Days annual with 65 floats and a little more than a mile parade route down Foothills Boulevard.
It was formed by Hanks and this all community out here, and all the winter visitors come, and we have a big time out here in the winter time.
It helps the community because it's something that is for the Foothills community.
And the parade ended with barbecue and a car show put down by the Foothills Rotary Club. I'm live in the studio. Phoenix O'Connor, back to you, Molly.
Thank you, Phoenix. Well, coming up after the break, we'll tell you what's happening in Hollywood. That's coming up in this week's Hollywood Minute after the break. But first, what happens in Vegas won't stay in Vegas when it comes to the outcome of the caucuses. That's next.
KYMA News 11.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, what happens in Vegas won't stay there today. In fact, the outcome of the caucuses will have ripple effects for the rest of the Democratic race, and it all comes down to turnout. NBC's Kristen Welker has more on the race for the White House.
All the risk in, because that's Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders making their closing arguments in Nevada Friday night.
I have a feeling, folks, we're going to make history tomorrow. We're going to win here in Nevada.
We've got a lot of work to do, my friends, and I think it's a privilege to do this work. But we've got to do it together. And with the race deadlocked, they spent their final few days crisscrossing the state, courting union workers, Latinos, and African Americans, all critical to winning here.
Guess what? There's a caucus here in Nevada.
There is so much at stake in this election. It's going to be one of the more consequential decisions that you'll make starting tomorrow at the caucus. The rhetoric is also heating up, with Clinton accusing Sanders of not being a real Democrat, and Sanders accusing Clinton of playing politics with her wholehearted embrace of President Obama.
She loves the president, he loves her, and all that stuff. And we know what that's about. That's trying to win support from the African American community, where the president is enormously popular.
Former President Bill Clinton also getting into the game after Sanders criticized aspects of his presidency.
Hillary's opponent jumped all over me last night, talked about how bad I'd been for African Americans and poor people. That campaign has been remarkably fact-free.
Nevada was supposed to be an afterthought for Clinton, but her double-digit lead in October evaporated to 1 point, 48 to 47%. NBC News political analyst John Ralston telling Andrea Mitchell.
There's no question both campaigns think that it's within the margin of error, that it could go either way, and that's why you see all this activity on the last day.
And a literary icon who wrote one of the most defining novels in American culture has died at 89. We're going to take a look back at her life. That's coming up next.
I'm going to give you a full look at your weather forecast and tell you what to expect these next couple days. Stay with us right here on the Early Edition. We'll be right back.
Studios covering Yuma and the Imperial Valley. This is KYMA News 11.
Welcome back for News 11's Entertainment. Author Harper Lee, a literary icon who wrote one of the most defining novels in American culture, has died at 89. Her 1960 book, To Kill a Mockingbird, about racial injustice in the Deep South, is treasured by generations of readers and is still taught in classrooms around the country. Tributes poured in today for the beloved author, and NBC's Harry Smith looks back at her enormous impact.
In Harper Lee's hometown of Monroeville, Alabama today, folks put up black ribbons in remembrance of the great author. Tourists by the thousands still come to the old courthouse to see the place so perfectly detailed in the film, the place where the hero, Atticus Finch, defends an innocent black man.
In our courts, all men are created equal.
Everybody wants to be Atticus. Everybody wants to be the defender of the weaker. And I think that's one of the reasons why
it will live on forever.
Perhaps the most important story in American literature, To Kill a Mockingbird captured the injustice and humiliation of racism. Profound and difficult truths made palatable by the narrator,
I'm Jean Louise Finch,
young Scout.
You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view.
Harper Lee, To Kill a Mockingbird.
Truths made evident in English classes across America for more than 60 years.
There's an important message to be learned from Harper Lee's book, being true to oneself and making the right choices.
While America loved her book, Harper Lee was no fan of celebrity. Not even Oprah could persuade her to do an interview. Ms. Lee did not publish another book until last year. Go Set a Watchman was an early draft of her bestseller, which disappointed fans for its less flattering portrayal of Atticus. But a Broadway version of To Kill a Mockingbird is in the works. In an America where race matters and has always mattered, her words have never rung more true. Harry Smith, NBC News, New York.
Well, that's going to wrap up this round of News 11's entertainment. Stay with us. After the break, thousands of Unification Church members took part in a mass wedding ceremony in Korea. We'll tell you why. That's next. A total of 15,000 couples from 194 countries participated in the event northeast of Seoul. Now, among them were 3,000 couples, some newlyweds, some tying the knot for the first time during the ceremony. They were inside the stadium while 12,000 couples participated in the event via live-streamed broadcast. The leader of the Unification Church led the ceremony, which was first held in 1961 with 36 couples and has grown in scale over the years. The Unification Church was founded in South Korea in 1954. Well, that's a very interesting story there. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Join us tonight for Nightside. See you then.